Lots of automakers are leaning in on crossovers and SUVs. There are so many of them out there on the road that I sometimes wonder if 10 years from now, if you ask someone to draw a car, will they give you that traditional 3-box shape? Or will it be an SUV shape? If Honda has anything to say about it, sedans are still here to stay. They have already treated the Civic to a refresh just like the CR-V and HR-V, and now it's the Accord's turn. The Honda Accord is starting its 11th generation. It's had an incredible run since 1977, and Honda's made it better than ever for 2023. Today, we're focusing on the Accord Hybrid, which represents the top 4 of the 6 trim lineup. We're here in California attending the launch of the 2023 Honda Accord. Yes, there has been info out there, but we are among the first journalists to get behind the wheel and who are allowed to give you our driving impressions. So let's check it out. First, quick reminder, please subscribe to this channel, and don't forget that you can now sell your car 100% online with CarGurus using our network of thousands of dealers. We'll pick it up and we'll make sure you get paid. My fiance has a 2022 Honda Accord Sport Hybrid, so I drive it a lot. I actually just put 700 miles on it last week, and it's a great car, so I'm really excited to see how they've made this one even better. Let's get driving. There were a few things that I knew in advance Honda had changed for the new generation Accord, so there are things I'm looking for now that I get to test drive it. For one thing, the new Accord Hybrid is more powerful than the old one, 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque. That's a significant change. So that, combined with the fact that they've tweaked the acceleration feel, does make for a noticeable difference. You can really notice the difference in the power delivery. It's nice, it's linear. They've also made it more quiet, which I'm not sure I'm noticing. I'm getting a decent amount of road noise. It's not really a bad thing. I mean, this isn't a luxury car, so you don't expect it to be a silent cabin. I'm just not sure I'm noticing that it's significantly quieter. I will say, I'm not hearing it at all when it shifts from the electric motor to the gas motor. And in the 2022 Accord, which I'm used to driving, I do notice that transition. So that's pretty impressive. Other changes, they've made the rear track 0.4 inches wider, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but they've also retuned the suspension, which is supposed to make for a more comfortable ride. I'm used to Boston roads, which are a lot worse than these, so I'm not sure I'm having a huge opportunity to notice the difference, but I am going to take their word for it. It's certainly been comfortable out here in California. Honda's motion management system is standard on the hybrid trim, so that controls the powertrain and the braking for better handling. It's especially useful in snowy or wet conditions, which I haven't had a chance to try out today, or in cornering, which I have gotten to try today. And I will say that it does feel very stable. The handling is nice. I definitely have a lot of confidence in the car as we're going up these twisty, turny mountain roads. So here's a significant driver experience change for the new Accord Hybrid. The old one had 4 deceleration modes. So these flappy paddles on the wheel, you can use these instead of stepping on the brake. You can click the paddles and the car will start to decelerate, slow down, and harvest some of that energy back into the battery. This one has 6 levels of deceleration, which I think is really going to be great for people who are looking to try out a one-pedal driving experience, but they're not sure they're ready to commit. You can really dial in your preference and find one that works for you, or what I'm doing right now is switching back and forth between them as appropriate, depending on what the people in front of me are doing, having to slow down a fair amount. We also now have 4 drive modes. The old Accord Hybrid had Econ, Sport, and Normal. This adds individual, which is pretty cool. You can, for example, choose sport steering and econ powertrain settings and combine those into your individual profile and just always drive with those settings. So you get a lot of choices. This is the Sport L trim, so it has the hybrid powertrain, the 2-liter 4-cylinder with the electric motor. The base engine for the 2023 Accord is the 1.5-liter turbocharged engine, and I know I've alluded to this before, but I do think it's really interesting. Sport and turbo used to be nearly synonymous, and the times are changing. Like it or not, electrification is here to stay, and yes, there are some very good reasons that some consumers may want to delay EV adoption, but hybrid really gives you the best of both worlds, and it just makes sense to use that newer and objectively better technology in your higher trims. At CarGurus, we've been saying that the Accord Hybrid is the Accord to get for years now. The 2023 Accord Hybrid is rated for 46 miles per gallon city, 41 highway, 44 combined. And the reason that it's a higher number for city, I know we're not used to seeing that, is the regenerative braking. You're doing more braking in city driving, and so you're harvesting more energy back into the battery. Now those numbers are for the 19-inch wheels. With the smaller 17-inch wheels, you get up to 48 miles per gallon combined. And all-wheel drive numbers, not relevant. The entire Accord lineup is still front-wheel drive only. So, all new Accord, obviously we have to talk about how it looks, and I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I think it looks great. I love that it's not just a bigger Civic, but really its own thing, because of course the Accord is its own thing, so it deserves it. I will say I don't think it's a huge departure from the previous generation. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The previous generation looked nice, and there are some significant changes. It's gotten a little bit blockier, more slab-sided, similar direction to what we've seen with some luxury sedans recently. Also, a lot of the same design philosophy that we saw in the redesign of the CR-V and the HR-V and the Civic, in that they've really cleaned it up, gotten rid of the roof moldings, tucked away the windshield wipers, giving it an overall more sophisticated feel. I think that the standard blacked out LED headlights really contribute to that sense of elegance, and so does the sloping fastback roofline. Sport, Sport L, and Touring trims get black 19-inch wheels. Silver or gray 17-inch wheels are standard for the other trims. I love these flush taillights and this sort of wide horizontal design to them. Almost has 7 Series to me, so I really get where Honda is coming from calling this an overall more premium look. Let's check out the interior. The interior is redesigned too. Might look a little bit familiar because Honda is sticking with the same design language that we've already seen in the recently refreshed Civic, CR-V, and HR-V, especially this metal grille here hiding the air vents, this mesh sort of honeycomb pattern. It's a little bit different for the Accord, but we've seen something like this before. We do still have physical climate controls, physical volume, and they feel nice. They give you a little bit of feedback. You get that sort of positive response, which is great. Interestingly, we now have a physical shifter, which is not true of the 2022 Sport trim anyway. That has a push-button gear selector. Personally, I prefer this. The shift knob is leather wrapped, as is the steering wheel in all Accord hybrids, and Sport model, which we don't have, this is Sport leather. The Sport one is the only one with cloth seats. Every other one has leather seats, every other hybrid Accord, and they all get a moonroof, which again, ours does not have, so I love that. I think it's such a nice thing. We talked about that elegant exterior design. That includes these thinner A-pillars, which is also great for visibility, and it includes the sloping fastback roofline. Not great for rear seat passengers, you lose 2 inches of headroom, but it's worth noting that the Accord Hybrid has the Camry Hybrid beat in total passenger volume by more than 5 cubic feet, in rear seat legroom by nearly 3 inches, and in trunk space by more than 1.5 cubic feet. All 2023 Accord hybrids come with this larger 12.3-inch touchscreen, which includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, plus this 10.2-inch digital gauge cluster, where at least the 2022 Sport trim of the Accord hybrid has 1 digital and 1 analog needle. The 8-speaker sound system is standard. The top trim Touring gets a 12-speaker Bose sound system. That one also gets wireless charging and Google built-in, which gives you Google Play, Google Voice, and Google Maps, all native to the system. All 2023 Accords come with the Honda Sensing Suite of Advanced Driver Assistance Systems standard. They've enhanced it to now include Traffic Jam Assist, and they also say that they've improved the Lane Keeping Assist and the Adaptive Cruise Control. The new front camera has a wider 90-degree field of vision. They've moved the radar mount, so it now sees for 120 degrees, and the next-gen airbags first seen in the Honda Civic are now in the Accord as well. 10 airbags standard in total. Honda says that they are expecting to earn a 5-star rating from the NHTSA and a top safety pick plus from the IIHS. The 2023 Honda Accord starts at $27,295, but since we're focusing on the Accord Hybrid today, let's consider that base price $31,895. That gets you the 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid in Sport trim. Now, I know we said sedans are becoming increasingly less common. Hybrids are, of course, becoming increasingly more common, but the center of that Venn diagram still does not represent a ton of automakers at this point in time. And so to avoid comparing stablemates, let's just look at the Toyota Camry Hybrid and the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid today. Now, the Camry was last redesigned in 2018, and actually so was the Accord, but while Honda evidently felt that it was time for another refresh, Toyota did not. Now, to be fair, the less shiny and less new Camry hybrid does also come at a lower starting price of $28,355 for the base LE trim. But keep in mind, as we've covered earlier, Honda is positioning the hybrid as the higher end option to reflect its higher capability and higher end driving experience. So we should look at the Camry Hybrid XLE. That has a larger number of speakers, although not quite as many as this, and the larger screen, although not as large as this one's, to make it parallel the Accord Sport Hybrid. Its starting price, $33,245. It is worth noting that its transmission lets it get better gas mileage at 52 miles per gallon combined, as opposed to max of 48 in the Accord Hybrid with the smaller wheels. And then there's the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid. Its pricing is a lot closer, $28,100 starting and $31,450 for a comparable model. The Sonata is going to be great for your driver and front passenger. They get more headroom and 4 more inches of legroom, but the rear seat gets 6 fewer inches of legroom and you get less overall cargo and passenger volume. Do note, of course, that Hyundai is known for its class-leading warranties. We don't do this often, but for a minute, let's think about how we match the top trim instead of the base trim. For the Accord Hybrid Touring, you get heated and ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, a 6-inch head-up display, Google built-in, auto tilting side mirrors, which is a favorite feature of mine, all of that for $37,890. I would compare that package of features with something like the Lexus ES300H. The Accord actually has better or the same features in most cases and more passenger and cargo volume, and it's for $5,000 to $10,000 less. I call that a deal. For full reviews of the 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid and any competitor you might want to consider, head over to CarGurus.com. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel, and check back soon because we'll be driving something else next week.